Autobahn dry. Yeah. Alright, we are talking about Germany's Autobahn 3. It is quite a road, and it is a road that goes near Frankfurt, which the Chiefs are playing in this week. That's the reason for this video. Alright, we see the Autobahn goes from the northwest to the southeast. It's kind of a diagonal throughout, and it goes from the Netherlands border to the Austria border. You're watching Control City Freak. This is the YouTube channel where we talk about highways and the places that they're signed to go to. If you dig this kind of content, why not give us a like? And if you really like it, why not subscribe? Yeah, subscribe. And I should mention you can request your exit or your point of interest for a $5 super sticker, or there's a new option, you can sign up for our Patreon. I'm gonna have the link maybe over here or in the description here later. With the $5 Patreon subscription, you get one free request per month and support the channel. Or you can just do it the old-fashioned way if you have any requests. Next week, we are going to be talking about US 41, the northern section, because the Chiefs are on bye, but we're not. So we're talking about the Bears-Packers. The week after that, 476 in Philly. The week after that, the Chiefs are playing in Vegas, so we're going to be doing some kind of 215 or 515 thing. I'm not sure which yet, but rest assured we have lots of games in Vegas, so there will be many Vegas episodes. So if you request for one, I'll get it to you at some point. All right, I don't know if this road goes eastbound or northbound, westbound, whatever. They don't have signs saying so I'm just going to say eastbound is what we're starting with, eastbound. Here we are in the Netherlands, and we see our exit is Ut. So that is our way to get Ut, but in Germany, that will change. We see we are entering Deutschland in 1 kilometer here, but I couldn't find an actual sign for when we entered Germany because Street View at the border here is really wonky for some reason. This is right around when we cross into Germany. We are leaving the town of whatever that says in the Netherlands. And when you leave a town in Germany or in Europe in general, that's how they do it. They have a crossed out thing for when you are leaving town. Random interchanges at this point. We are signed for Oberhausen, which I think is probably the correct thing to be signed. This is a toll road, and I didn't see any toll booths anywhere, so I assume it just must all be by plate. And here's a look at what our exits look like, or Asphalt. We see asphalt all over the place. That is the German way for doing it. We get a mileage sign here telling us on Autobahn 3 and on European Road 35, they are one and the same at this point. Oberhausen, 67 kilometers, and Cologne at 136 kilometers. Well done there. We're meeting our first fellow Autobahns here. 516 is going to Oberhausen. 2 is going to Dortmund. 2 is actually going to go all the way to Berlin. I feel like why not throw Berlin on there too. 3 is going to Cologne, Dusseldorf, and Duisburg. And at random interchanges, we see 3 is signed for Cologne. We are meeting Autobahn 42, signed for Dortmund, and we are still signed for the same cities as before. I'm guessing this contraption is probably how they collect the tolls. I'm not actually sure. And we also notice here, this is a 120 kilometer an hour speed limit zone. I thought the Autobahn had no speed limits. Well, in some places there are speed limits. This part of northwest Germany, the Ruhr Valley, is actually the most urbanized and heavily populated section of Germany. So no surprise they don't want you driving 500 miles an hour here. We're going to be meeting 40 signed for Essen, and we are still signed for more or less the same places on 3. Right here, we are going right past a zoo, so pretty well landscaped areas here. It's a zoo on both sides of this road. We're meeting 52 and 524. I wonder if that's done the same way as Korea, where they just add a number after the 2-digit number instead of adding one before, if that's a 52-based thing. We are signed for Cologne, Dusseldorf, and Kreuz-Rattingen Ost. And 52 is getting off for Dusseldorf. And, well, looks like they commissioned Oklahoma OK Dot to build this sign. This sign seems to be in pretty bad shape compared to the other German signs. We are on 3 for Cologne and Mettermann, and 44 is exiting here for Velbert. And here we see the sign. We are getting a mileage sign, Frankfurt, 227 kilometers, and Cologne 47. So they are putting the more distant control city on top. And then we also see, because we're meeting 46 soon, cities for 46. So pretty well done here. Now we're meeting 46, and it's got those same cities sign that we saw a second ago. And Frankfurt AM is Frankfurt am Main. Apparently there are more than one Frankfurt in Germany, but the Frankfurt that everybody knows is Frankfurt am Main on the Main River. And now we're meeting 542 once again. and Frankfurt, Cologne, and Koblenz signed for Highway 3. We're meeting number 1 in the North Cologne interchange, and it is signed for Aachen. Aachen's a cool town. I've been there before. And we are now signed for Frankfurt and Cologne, along with the Cologne airport. Now we're going to be meeting 4, and we have a concurrency with 4. So we got concurrencies in Germany too, besides the European highways. So we're going to be on 3 and 4 for Frankfurt and Aachen going this way. 4 is exiting for some other cities that I've not heard of. Here's what the interchange looks like over here, the highest point of that interchange, because you can see the Cologne Cathedral, the famous cathedral there in the background. Pretty cool place. Cologne, beautiful architecture, and Kelch is the best beer ever. So yeah, lovely city to hang out. And here is where we're going to be splitting with 4. 4 signed for Aachen and Bonn, and we are signed for Frankfurt straight ahead. We're getting Frankfurt and Koblenz straight ahead, and Bonn is exiting once again on 560. At our next mileage sign, we are getting Frankfurt 158 away, and Wiesbaden and Koblenz are the secondary controls along the way here. 48 is where you would take to get to Koblenz, and now Koblenz comes off of our guide sign. We're getting Würzburg, Frankfurt, and Wiesbaden. And here's our exit for Limburg. You know, New York is the Big Apple. Jakarta is the Big Durian. I wonder if they call Limburg the Big Cheese. Yes, it was a cheesy joke here for Limburg. I'm guessing home of Limburger. We're meeting 66. 66 is signed for Frankfurt, Hanover, Mainz, and Wiesbaden. And straight ahead, we're still getting Würzburg, Frankfurter Kreuz, and Basel. And we are meeting 43 for the Frankfurt Airport, the busiest airport in Germany, I believe. It's not the biggest city in Germany, but it does have the prominent airport. So now we are getting Munich as our primary control city. We don't go to Munich, actually, but it does make sense. Then Würzburg, Offenburg, and the Frankfurter Kreuz. Frankfurt and Frankfurt Airport, this exit. And we go right next to the airport. We see on the right that actually is the airport and hotels related to the airport. And on the left is the airport's high-speed rail station, because this is Germany and not America, so they have, you know, cool rail stuff. Now we're meeting 5. This is the Frankfurter Kreuz. We'll talk more about that later. And now we are assigned as Munich as our control primary city, but we still do have other things along the line too. And here is the Frankfurt South exit, and this is the exit for the stadium. So if you were going to the Chiefs and Dolphins game, you would be getting off here. And now we're meeting 661, another Autobahn, and we are assigned for Munich, Würzburg, and Hanau. And here you could get to Bad Homburg. Well, I'd much rather go to good Hamburg, I think. And this is a rest area kind of thing. We see a rest area in Germany as a Heinbach. And we continue down 3. We see we are on E42 now. We have changed European highway designations, but we have not changed Autobahn designations. And we see Munich, Nuremberg, and Würzburg are going to be our main controls here. And here we're meeting 45. We have a whole lot of Autobahns here. We are getting Dortmund and other cities along the way for 45 at this exit. Here we're meeting 81 for Stuttgart, amongst other places, and we are still signed for Munich and Nuremberg. We're meeting 7, and it is signed for, amongst other places, Rothenburg. So I was actually on Autobahn 3, actually probably decade and a half ago. I was on Autobahn 3, taking it roughly from Cologne to Rothenburg, although I didn't actually drive. It was my buddy's rental car, so I couldn't drive it, but still cool to check it all out. And next up on our control city list, we've got Regensburg is now our primary, and then Munich, Nuremberg, and Bamberg as well. And this is quite a choice here. For 3, we're getting Regensburg, Munich, Berlin, and Nuremberg, and 73 is getting off for Nuremberg. Here we are kind of exiting to stay on 3. If you go straight, you'll be on 9 for Munich and Heilbronn. That's why there's been signing Munich all this way. It's the biggest city in this area, and also if you go straight, you end up on a different road as 9 and end up going to Munich. So we're exiting onto 3, and 3 signed for Regensburg, Prague, Czech, and Hamburg, Berlin, Dresden. Wow. We're on E56, European Highway 56, different one than before. The other one would have followed 9 there. So now we're getting Passau and Regensburg as our control cities, and then we're also getting a few on 6, which we will be meeting soon. And so we can see we are signed for Passau and Regensburg, and 6 is signed for Prague, Hamburg, and others. Random interchanges, it is Regensburg that we are signed for. And now we're meeting 93, signed for Hof and Regensburg. We are signed for Passau straight ahead. And Passau is what is signed at random interchanges. Passau is more or less the Austrian border town on the German side. And now we're getting Linz and Passau. Linz is actually in Austria, the first major place in Austria we would meet. And at random interchanges, it is Linz from this point, as we're already in the Passau area. Mileage signs, we get Linz, 107 kilometers. I'd actually probably go with Vienna, just because literally everybody knows Vienna, and you would still be taking the same general direction road toward Vienna. It's a different road than the one to Linz, but if you wanted to go to Vienna from this point, you'd be on this road. And we can see Linz straight ahead. Right here, you can exit for various other things and various other roads. And welcome to Austria. We are in Austria now. So in Austria, Ausfahrt goes away. Instead, we've got a Zoll. And in Austria, this is our first kind of major civilization of Austria, this rest area thing. So we will turn around and go the other way. All right, let's talk about the westbound Autobahn 3, more or less west. So in Austria, it is signed for Passau D. D, I'm guessing, is for Deutschland. And we're coming to the last exit in Austria, so we do see Passau D straight ahead. And we cross the Inn River, known from, the city of Innsbruck. And on the other side, we will be in Germany. Lots of traffic going into Germany at this point. And here you can see we're kind of stuck in traffic too. And we see this first exit in Germany, parking and bad fussing. Don't do your bad fussing. And we see here we are meeting 9, and 9 is signed for Munich. We were signed a little Munich-y before, but now we're getting 9 for Munich. So now we are signed Frankfurt and Nuremberg. Nuremberg is the secondary, Frankfurt is the primary. At random interchanges, we are getting Regensburg and Passau both. And this sign, Passau, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, but just an interesting looking sign that I saw on the side of the road. And we get our mileage sign. We see Nuremberg and Regensburg are the next main draws that we're going to be getting. If you take 92, you can go to Munich or Deggendorf. Here we cross the Danube River, so fairly famous one there. And now we're meeting 92 for Munich, and we are signed for Nuremberg and Regensburg, so Frankfurt has gone away for the time being. And now we're getting Würzburg and Nuremberg. If you're going to go to Würzburg, you may as well just go right to Frankfurt, I think. And now we're meeting Highway 6 once again. And Highway 6, we see there's a stadium there, and it's also for Nuremberg and Munich. And we are signed for Frankfurt, Würzburg, Berlin, and Nuremberg. So wow, 3 is briefly signed for Berlin. And we're meeting 45 once again. Now 3 is going to be signed for Cologne, Wiesbaden, and Frankfurt. Wiesbaden's not on this road, but Cologne and Frankfurt certainly are. Now we're getting 2 signs for 3, Munich, Würzburg, and Cologne, Wiesbaden, Frankfurt. Okay. And we are getting our exit for the stadium once again. And we're also getting notice of the Frankfurter Kreuz coming up. That is the intersection with Highway 5. We will see it again soon, Autobahn 5. And it is the busiest intersection in Germany, which is why it itself is a control city. It'd be like if Springfield Interchange was on an overhead sign here. And at that interchange, here's a look at how close we are to the stadium. We can see it is just a little ways up. There is no way to see it from Highway 3. It was not visible from Highway 44 either, so I just went with this overhead shot. And on this other highway, we see the exit for 3 coming up. So we see our road, sign for Cologne, Frankfurt Airport, and sign for other roads the other direction. And this is the actual exit for the stadium where the game will be at. We don't get anywhere near downtown Frankfurt because in Europe they didn't ram freeways right through the center of the city. So here's a look at the Frankfurt skyline. It's got one of the more muscular skylines in Germany. And we are continuing with Highway 3, Autobahn 3, now signed for Cologne, Wiesbaden, and Mainz. And this is the Frankfurter Kreuz. We have Autobahn 5 exit right here. And here is what it looks like from overhead, and it's basically a clover leaf. I'm surprised they didn't mix that up a little bit more since the busiest intersection. Here we are at the airport once again. That is the high-speed rail station just to the right of us, and then the airport complex itself to the left. If you're at the airport, leaving the airport, so we see 3 signed for one direction for Cologne and Mainz and Wiesbaden, and signed the other way for Würzburg and Kassel. We're meeting 66. We are signed for Cologne only. Rare that you only have one control city on any of these. Europe likes to put lots of them all over the place. And now we are meeting 4 again. We will be concurrent with 4 for a little bit. So we are signed for Oberhausen, Dusseldorf, Cologne, and Olpe. Olp? Midwestern Ope? Maybe just Midwestern Ope right there. And we are meeting number 1 once again. Autobahn 1 signed for Dortmund and Northern Cologne. And we are signed for Oberhausen and Dusseldorf. Do you think Dusseldorf, and then Duisburg actually would be the better way to go here. I don't know why they don't do Duisburg over Oberhausen, because Duisburg is both bigger and closer, and our road actually gets closer to it than it does to Oberhausen, but maybe Oberhausen's more famous in Germany, I don't actually know. And at random interchanges, we see 3 signed for Oberhausen one way, and Frankfurt, Dortmund, and Koblenz the other way. We're meeting 46 again. It's 46 signed for many places. We're signed for Oberhausen and northern Dusseldorf. Once we're in the Duisburg area, now we start getting signed for Arnhem and Oberhausen. Arnhem is in the Netherlands, so that is beyond Germany at this point. And we see here Arnhem, Hanover, and OB Holten. I don't know what that is. 42 is our exit here. And I forgot to mention this before, 3 actually exits itself at another point right here. So here, if we were to go straight, we would be on 2 for Hanover and other places. Again, I feel like Berlin should be on there too, because Germany's not shy about signing faraway places. And 3 for Arnhem and Emmerich. Emmerich is the last little town in Germany, and Arnhem is in the Netherlands. And then we just have the Oberhausen exit right here at 516. And at random interchanges here, for northbound, we are getting Arnhem, and southbound Oberhausen. And now we see Arnhem is 80 kilometers away, and Emmerich is 55 kilometers away. Should comment on the blue signs here. I guess that's what's quite different from America. I mean, the blue signs are okay. I think our green signs are definitely cooler. These blue signs make me feel like we're just driving at the airport the entire time. And here's our last exit in Germany. It is Elten and Beek. And we can see right here, again, the street view is really bad. I had to look from a different angle, but right here is where we go into the Netherlands. We get this Nederland sign. All right, let's talk about Todd's the way it should be for Autobahn 3. I'm going to say eastbound, it should start with Oberhausen. Oberhausen is a sensible one because that's where we meet Autobahn 2, so it is going to be signed for different places than 3 is, so Oberhausen's a good primary there. Then Dusseldorf after that, Cologne after that, Frankfurt definitely would be the main one you'd be signing on this road. After Frankfurt, Munich and Nuremberg, I think, split because we don't actually go to Munich, but it is the way to Munich. And then after the split off for Munich, I believe that was Highway 9, we would have Regensburg. Regensburg would be the primary because that split off is in Nuremberg. And then after Regensburg, I think we should just go with Vienna, honestly, because that's what everybody is going to know, but I'm not sure. And westbound, I'm going to say Passau, because again, in Passau, we're going to have kind of a decision point. So Passau is fine coming out of Austria. Then Munich/Regensburg from Passau until we get to the road that will take us over to Munich. And then at that point, just Regensburg, then just Nuremberg. Nuremberg is a pretty famous place. And then just Frankfurt. Cologne would be the best thing after Frankfurt. Then Dusseldorf. Duisburg kind of gets the shaft there in favor of Oberhausen. I'd say it should be Duisburg here. And then after Duisburg, Oberhausen's close enough, not really worth signing. I just go with Utrecht. Utrecht is a much more well-known place in the Netherlands than the one that they currently signed, so I'd go with that. All right, thank you so much for watching this episode of Control City Freak. I really appreciate it, and we will be back with some US 41 action next week. Excited about that. Chiefs are taking the week off, but we aren't. All right, thank you so much for watching this episode. My name is Todd, and until next time, keep on trucking.